My name is Haruka, 30 years old. I'm a full-time employee at a food manufacturer. My husband, Fumiya, is 5 years older than me, and on the weekends, we watch movies together at home. The series this time was also really moving.
It was. I couldn't watch it without tears.
But you're not crying, are you?
I'm crying tears inside my heart.
What is that?
It's already 10 o'clock. We could probably watch one more if we wanted to. What do you want to do?
That's true. Why don't we watch one more? As we were having this conversation, the doorbell to our apartment rang. What? This late at night?
I wonder if it's a mistake.
Because our building was the type where you punch in numbers at the entrance of the building, it was pretty common for there to be mistakes. When Fumiya went to check the security camera...
Mom?
What? Why? I'm so sorry this late at night. If you wouldn't mind, would it be okay if I came up? Sure. We unlocked the door and waited for my mother-in-law to arrive. I wonder what happened with your mom.
My big brother and sister-in-law should be with her. Maybe something happened to the two of them?
My mother-in-law was living at their family home with Fumiya's older brother and his wife. For just his mother to come over alone this late at night had never happened before, so we were both really shocked by this. The doorbell next to our front door rang, and Fumiya went to go get his mother and welcome her into the living room. I poured a cup of hot tea and gently gave it to her. Here you go. I showed up out of nowhere, and you're bringing me tea. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
What's the matter, Mom?
About that, I was kicked out of the house by Takashi and Yuko.
What? By Takashi?
Yes, we got into a little bit of an argument, and then they told me to get out, but I didn't have anywhere to go, so I'm here and hoping I can rely on you.
What do you mean they said get out?
I can't believe they would say that to you, too. Actually, Fumiya had been kicked out of the house in the past as well. That was about 5 years ago. At the time, Fumiya was my boyfriend, and he showed up at my door out of nowhere just like this. 5 years ago. Fumiya? What's the matter all of a sudden? If you were coming over, you would have contacted me.
I'm sorry, my phone battery was dead. It was all a bit sudden.
What? Did something happen? Well, anyway, just come on in for now.
I'm really sorry, Haruka.
It's totally fine. So, what happened?
About that, I was kicked out of the house by my brother and sister-in-law.
Kicked out? Fumiya was living with his father and mother, and his older brother and his wife, the 5 of them in that house. Fumiya's brother, Takashi, had gotten married 6 months ago, and at that time, he moved back home and welcomed his wife into the family, but... Why now? Because you guys have already been living together for more than 6 months, right?
Yeah, my brother moved back in. I thought about moving out, but the house is close to the company, and I didn't think that I needed to move out just because they moved back in. Well, we are all adults, so I thought that we would be able to make it work somehow.
If I remember correctly, I think he never got along well with his older brother.
And then, actually, starting today, for 5 days, my parents are away on a vacation, and maybe he was waiting for that timing, and he suddenly said that this was going to be his house in the future, and to get out. And then we got into a huge fight.
Well, I guess if you got into a fight in front of your parents, your brother would get yelled at by your father.
And then my sister-in-law jumped on board with that. They basically forced me out of the house together. They even locked the door on me, but because it happened so sudden, and of course I didn't have my key on me either, luckily I had my phone and my wallet in my pockets because I was going to go to the convenience store.
What is that?
It's unbelievable, right?
But your parents, right? You couldn't contact them because your phone was dead?
Yeah, but they're also on a vacation together, so I didn't want to bother them, so I'll talk to them when they come back. Oh, would it be okay if I charge my phone?
Of course.
Thank you. But that being said, what should I do?
I'm sure your dad will understand, won't he?
Yeah, I think he'll understand, and I do think he'll be angry as well, but even if I stay in that house after this, I don't know when my brother and his wife are gonna raise their hands at me. I could try to get my brother kicked out of the house, but I was thinking about taking this opportunity to start living alone.
I see. Well, then, why don't we get married?
Yeah, wait, did you just say get married?
Yeah, instead of saying you're going to live alone, let's live together. We've been dating for 3 years already, but this apartment is for a single person, so we're gonna have to move, aren't we?
But there's also the option that we just live together.
When we move, I figure it might be easier in a lot of ways if I change my name, too. That's what my friend who got married recently said.
That might be true, but are you sure? To get married in a way like this? And not only that, but a reverse proposal.
It's totally fine. Timing is important for things like this, too.
I thought a bouquet of 100 roses and a diamond ring were necessary to propose to a woman.
Will you stop underestimating me?
Well then, I look forward to being your husband, Haruka.
And so, in an unexpected turn of events, was another unexpected turn of events. But because he was kicked out of the house, we were going to get married. A couple of days later, when we spoke to my father-in-law, he was happy for us, but he also scolded Takashi harshly for us.
Hey, what do you mean you kicked Fumiya out? Kicking him out makes it sound bad. That conversation came up and Fumiya decided to leave himself. You and your wife both dragged me out of the house.
I would never do such a thing.
This is my first time meeting my sister-in-law, but she's definitely acting right now. This is what girls do, that girls hate.
I really don't know what you're talking about. But if they were able to get married because Fumiya went to his girlfriend, then everything's all right in the end, isn't it?
That's right. I was worried about you too since you've been dating for a while, but you weren't getting married. Oh, shut up. I was also thinking about it soon anyway.
I didn't know that. That makes me happy.
Well, even if you argue about it, nothing's gonna come of it. I'm really glad that Haruka is such a kind person. I feel sorry that this is how you became engaged, but you're very welcome in this family. We look forward to it.
Thank you. To be honest, I was worried about what I would do if my father-in-law and mother-in-law were strange people, but they were understanding people, and I was relieved. 1 month later, we moved into a brand new apartment and submitted our marriage certificates. Our days were full of happiness together, but unfortunately, 3 years after we got married, my father-in-law passed away. The illness he was battling suddenly got worse, and a few days after he was hospitalized, he never returned again. Honey?
Dad! This is a joke, right? Please wake up!
As a family, we were devastated. Well, no. If I'm being correct, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law didn't even come to the hospital. All of the arrangements made for the funeral were made by my mother-in-law and by Fumiya. Even though his brother was the oldest, he said he was busy with work or whatever and didn't do anything. Shouldn't Takashi be doing something? It doesn't make any sense that he's prioritizing work over his own father. And then, what was even more unbelievable was that he didn't even try to help the strawberry farm that was the family business. It was impossible for my mother-in-law to manage that huge plot of land by herself. If he had grown up around the farm since he was little, he should have known that. Fumiya and I went on the weekdays after work or on the weekends to help out, but apparently Takashi and his wife have not come to the farm once, even though they live in the same house. But it might be better than having them stick their heads in on the side. I'm just gonna leave those people alone. We had that past, so ever since my father-in-law's funeral, we hadn't even contacted them. But it looks like this is going to be the worst reunion.
But Mom, you also can't stay away from home either, can you? The harvest is going to be over soon and you need to start preparing for the next season too.
Exactly, but actually about 1 month ago, I gave all the rights to the farm to Takashi and his wife.
What? What do you mean?
Takashi quit his job. He said he was going to take after the family business, and we had a lot of discussions about it, but he seemed serious, so I gave it to him. I'm getting old, and my body isn't really listening to what I want it to do. Of course, as long as I'm alive, I plan on teaching him the know-hows of the farm, but yesterday, we got into an argument. Argument? That's right. He said that he was going to fuse farming and IT from now on. I do think that's a wonderful thing, but I think that's something you can only do after fully understanding the traditional way of growing them. That's why I wanted to continue teaching him. But he said to me, "Shut up, you're too old to know."
What on earth is Takashi thinking?
Ugh. But the house belongs to you, doesn't it? They shouldn't have the right to kick you out. Well, actually, about that, when I was handing him the farm, I also changed the name on the family house.
Really?
Fumiya and I had no intention of taking after the family house to begin with, so there was no problem with the change in name, but everything was happening so quickly that we were shocked. Yes, Takashi had said that you wanted the house eventually, so I thought this would be the perfect timing, but I was an idiot for believing in Takashi.
No, he's the one that's wrong for treating his own family like this.
But what about Yuko? Since she doesn't do any of the chores around the house, wouldn't it be better for her if you're around? Although, even this way of thinking is outrageous. Recently, my lower back pain has been bad that I can't even stand in the kitchen, and I can't do the chores like I could before. And well, I am no longer useful, and I'm old, so they decided to get rid of me. How awful. Well, luckily, I have my social security money. If you wouldn't mind it, can I stay here until I find my next home? Of course, but actually, why don't we just live together? That's too much.
We don't mind at all. You really don't need to mind so much.
Are you sure? Well, that does make me happy. Oh, and I would never, ever kick you out or anything like that, so please don't worry. Thank you. And from that day forward, we started living together with my mother-in-law. I would have been happy if my mother-in-law was able to live comfortably and happily, but she said that she wasn't so old that we needed to take care of her, and she helped out around the house as much as possible. According to my mother-in-law, because she doesn't have to work on the farm anymore, her lower back pain got better, and she seems to be able to move even better than before. My mother-in-law is starting to look more happy than she did when she first arrived, and little by little, we saw her come back to life. One day in the morning, when Fumiya and his mother and I were relaxing at home, she received a phone call to her cell phone. Oh my, it's from Takashi.
What does Takashi want now? Mom, put it on speakerphone when you answer.
Okay, I will. My mother-in-law answered the phone and put it on speakerphone so that we could hear. What's the matter?
Mom, the gas and the electric power and the water have all been stopped. What the hell is going on?
I wonder if something is broken. I don't live there, so I wouldn't know.
Could you call someone?
Why should I? You guys can do it yourselves.
Because for things like this, the person who signed the contract has to do it, right?
Excuse me?
Because you're the person on the contract, right? Oh, wait a minute. Have you not been paying the bills?
Huh? Why would I be paying the bills? And plus, I sent you a message that all those contacts would expire in 2 weeks. I thought you would struggle if it was sudden. That's why I gave you some time to figure it out.
I don't know anything about this.
That's suspicious. This is definitely that pattern where he completely forgot, but just remembered, but can't say that.
Takashi, this is exhausting to listen to. Fumiya, you were listening? You must be crazy as a parent not to pay the Lifeline for their son. But the house is under your name, isn't it? So I think there's something more crazy with you. It's your house, but you don't know anything about it? Excuse me, we were just given the house, that's it.
Is my brother-in-law's brain this empty? Anyway, you need to get a new contact yourselves. That's it. My brother-in-law started saying something, but my mother-in-law hung up the phone on him. Ugh, how pathetic. I must have raised him wrong.
No, I think I came out pretty right, so I think it's a problem with Takashi himself.
When you were living with them, Takashi and Yuko didn't pay for anything? Exactly. I heard that his work hasn't been going well either, and they said that they wanted to save up for a child in the future, so I thought that I would help them out with living expenses. You're so kind.
I don't know about his work, but he's not so poor that he can't afford living expenses. And I'm pretty sure Yuko said she didn't want kids. She just wants to take it easy and be a full-time housewife.
Oh my, is that true? I can't believe that they were fooling me. Well, I was also wrong. Because it was being withdrawn from my bank account, I totally forgot to cancel it. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, but well, I'm sure Takashi and Yuko are gonna struggle, so they'll figure something out themselves.
Yes, that's right. But also, this must mean the two of them have no idea about that thing. Huh? I feel like my mother-in-law just said something. Oh well. They did have a problem, but there was nothing that my mother-in-law had contracted on their behalf, so she should be fine. Or so I thought, but... About half a year after that, she received a phone call from Takashi again, but this time in tears. We had her put him on speakerphone again and decided to listen to what they have to say.
Mom, you have to come back!
That's the first thing you're going to say? What happened?
The strawberries aren't growing!
What did you say?
You say they're not growing, but it's just one part of them, right? You're a beginner, so I'm sure it would be difficult to grow all of them perfectly. No, it's all of them!
Excuse me, are you saying that the entire field is gone?
Yeah!
What?
How is that possible? The fact that the entire field is gone in such a short period of time would actually be difficult unless you did something ridiculous. About that, I messed up fusing it with the IT, and it looks like we were harming the strawberries instead. The sprinklers weren't working properly, and I also messed up the new breed development.
Why didn't you go to the farm to confirm every day? If it's impossible with IT, then you could obviously just do it by hand.
But then there's no point in installing the IT, is there?
And not only that, but you're a beginner and you tried new breed development. That was the farm that your father and I worked so hard to build together, and we didn't want to let go of it. And I was truly happy when you said that you were going to take over the family business. My mother-in-law was crying, but that was a given. That strawberry farm held more memories than her sons could ever know about.
Takashi, you're the worst, and that's why you're telling her to come back, even though you refused to listen to anything Mom said, and that's why you failed? Even though you're the one that kicked Mom out of the house? Who do you think you are? That's not all. I want her to be at home. At home? Why is that? Ever since Mom left the house, Yuko doesn't do anything. Recently, we only eat cup noodles. The house is a disaster, and I end up having to do all the chores.
Excuse me? Your mother is not a housemaid.
Please come back. At this rate, all of our contracts with our regulars will be destroyed.
I don't care anymore, because that's not me and my husband's farm anymore. Do something about it yourself.
Mom, please, I'm begging you. I'm in debt right now. Debt? Yeah, when I was trying to install the IT systems, about $100,000. $100,000? There's no way that you would be able to borrow so much money when you just started farming the first time. Really? But that guy let me borrow it pretty easily.
That must be the type of guy that you're really not supposed to borrow money from.
Oh, I know! Fumiya! Why don't we inherit the farm as brothers? I really think the IT will work in the future! I do think the fusion of IT into farming is good, but if we succeed, money will flow in so easily! The strawberries will grow on their own, and we don't have to look after them either! You don't have any love towards the strawberries? Love? What are you saying? Even if you put that in or whatever, it's not going to change the flavor. As long as they grow and you sell them and it turns into money, then that's enough, isn't it? You're the worst. Even if the IT goes well, you're not going to succeed as a strawberry farm, Takashi. Huh? Why is that? Because you don't even understand why. Anyway, we're not going to lend you a hand anymore. Hey!
Fumiya hung up the phone on his brother. Are you okay after that? Yes, it is unfortunate about the farm, but the memories won't be gone.
Yeah, that's true.
However, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law didn't back down, and the next day we got another phone call. Shoot, it's from Yuko.
Mom and I had missed calls from Takashi, but we both ignored all of them and blocked him. So now he's finally using his wife and coming to you.
I forgot to block her. I debated whether to answer or not, but after causing so much trouble to my beloved husband and his mother, I was irritated with her as a fellow wife that married into this family. You know what? I'm gonna give her one last piece of my mind. And to do that, I answered the phone and put it on speakerphone. It seems that she also had her phone on speaker, and my brother-in-law appeared.
You finally answered!
Hey, you! Where the hell are you right now?
Not even a hello or do you have a minute, no greeting whatsoever. I'm home.
Well, in that case, you need to hurry up and come out. We're here at the entrance, even though we rang the doorbell so many times.
The doorbell didn't ring though.
Huh? Well then, maybe it's broken? Anyway, you need to open up.
Oh, I see. That reminds me, we actually moved houses.
You moved?
The apartment that we were living in before was a little bit tight for 3 people, and so that's why. As a secret to Takashi and his wife, we had moved into a bigger apartment for a family of 3 to live comfortably.
Why haven't you told us the address then?
Obviously, to avoid a situation like this. Well, for reasons. Anyway, why are you calling?
We were thinking of living with you.
Huh? I didn't understand at all, but I heard my mother-in-law whisper, I knew it. You two, you aren't able to pay the fixed asset tax, are you? That plot of land is prime location, and so it actually is worth quite a lot. That's right, Fumiya's family are super wealthy. Because my mother-in-law and Fumiya had a very modest understanding of money, I had completely forgot. But Fumiya's family house was a luxurious mansion. And not only that, but it was a prime location in an expensive residential area. With just the fixed asset tax, I have a feeling it would be anything less than a couple $10,000.
Yeah, I've told you multiple times, haven't I? I took it off your hands for you, so why the hell should I have to pay for it then?
Huh, because that's how this world works. And plus, when I handed it to you, I told you about the fixed asset tax, didn't I?
I don't know anything about that!
Again, he only remembers what he wants to.
This must mean that he must not understand anything about other taxes and other responsibilities.
Anyway, we're family, so let's all live together, right?
That's true. We may be family according to the law, but I don't think of you as my family anymore anyway.
Yeah, me neither.
Me neither. Seriously, even though we're the same that we married into this family, why are we so different? Isn't that right, ma'am? Yes, truly. I'm so glad that you're smart and kind, Haruka.
What the hell?
Anyway, you can just sell the house or figure something out, can't ya? If I could, then I would have done that, but we're struggling to find anybody to buy it because it's so expensive.
That's true. The fixed asset tax is so high, it would make purchasing even more difficult. I guess being too fancy is a problem when trying to sell.
Anyway, help me! The debt is only increasing, and that's it! Get another job somewhere. Why should I? Even though there's an opportunity with this IT fusion. And plus, I don't want to work anymore.
The downfall of the unemployed. Yuko, why don't you also go out to get a job? You could even just do part-time.
Part-time? You mean that thing those old ladies do? That's too embarrassing. I could never.
There's nothing we can say at this point. Is that so? Well then, good luck to the two of you, but don't bother contacting us ever again. If you're going to be so persistent, then we're going to hire a lawyer if we need to.
You monster! A wife like you? You're gonna get thrown away so fast.
You're want to talk when you were just disowned by your mother-in-law. Well then. I hung up the phone on her, and then I also blocked her. There were times that they would try to call from a payphone, but as soon as I heard their voice, I would immediately hang up. But recently, we don't even get calls from them on a public phone. Maybe they don't even have the money to be able to use a payphone. Later on, my mother-in-law heard from an acquaintance from her strawberry farming days, and it turns out that Takashi and Yuka were buying strawberries from the supermarket and then trying to sell those as their own branded products. Of course, there was no way I was going to let that pass, and they were taken by the police. These days, I heard they don't even have a house and they're just running away. Truly so pathetic. 1 year later, Fumiya and I both quit our jobs, and under the guidance of my mother-in-law, we started a strawberry farm. We purchased their farm through a real estate agent, but even with that, I don't think my brother-in-law will ever get their lives back, because the baggage that they're carrying is even more than that. Although, I don't care anymore anyway. The strawberries that we grew sold immediately thanks to my mother-in-law's connections. They were sweet and juicy, and they instantly became popular. It was featured on television, and world-renowned pastry chefs were also using them, and our income became way more than what we were making together working full-time at a company.
If only my brother got the basics down, he probably would have been earning just as much by now.
I know, right? When it comes to anything, I've learned how important it is to learn from the previous generation. To make sure that we don't fail like my brother-in-law did, we are looking after the strawberries so carefully, and we'll keep giving the strawberries and our family plenty of love.